Live from the Moxy Times Square here in New York City. It's No Vacancy Live. What do you think about that?
You know what I like?
What?
I like the fact right before we go on, you still got to go, Anthony. We're going live. We're going live.
I don't.
Okay, and I'm hitting the button now.
The reason for that is that
Because I don't
personal
pay
stuff.
attention.
Yeah, well, no, because you say all this amazing stuff that they are not permitted to hear quite yet.
Oh wow!
Let's go for a second.
And our
I'm
guest is
Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Hey everybody, welcome to No Vacancy Live. Of course, we got Anthony Melchiori over there. Today we're joined by Christian Brosius, and he is area general manager, Moxy, New York City. Give me a second. I got to do this. Of course, I'm Glenn Hausman. Great to see everybody. Christian, it's great to be here after Labor Day. Fall is sitting in.
Can you believe it, huh?
No.
I will tell you, I drove in. I had to drive my daughter to work this morning. I drove in since I knew I was coming. I said, all right, I'll drive in. It took me 2 hours to get here. Usually it takes me with no traffic. COVID world was 45 minutes. My friend Glenn usually takes him an hour and 15 minutes. It took him
48 miles from right here. 3 hours this morning to get here, but it's worth it, Christian.
New York's back.
It is, huh?
Yeah,
it is. The trains are packed. It's exciting.
And it's really great to see what's going on. The only thing I don't like about this time of year is too much pumpkin spice. Do you think you could do something about that?
My wife just.
It's also the humidity, right?
My wife wanted a pumpkin spice coffee. But the humidity yesterday, I was in my backyard. We're having an event for Labor Day weekend. It felt like somebody took a blanket that was 100 degrees and threw it on my body all day. I have an outside shower house. I took 3 showers. It's crazy. So it's great to be back here. And the Moxy brand, I walk into the lobby and, you need to punch a number to get to the right floor. It's really cool. It's efficient. Tells you what elevator to go to. Then you can check in with your credit card in 2 seconds or with a code, and you're checked into your room. You get a key from the computer. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's the best one I've seen so far.
Oh, so we've been part of this test within Marriott, as many might know. Moxy is a part of the Marriott brand. It's a select service brand. We have been beta testing this since 2019. We rolled out the new terminals at the middle of last year, which are the ones that you saw in the lobby now. Right. There's around 50 nationwide deployed in Marriott select service hotels.
Only 50.
Only 50 so far, and they're working on deploying them further. Every hotel we're going to open up is going to start also with that technology in the lobby, and it works very, very well. We have around 20% take rate on the terminals, and we have a 95% success rate on those terminals. Wow. So 90% of the guests that start the process there also finish the check-in there.
When do you get to the point where there's no more front desk agents and you have only like a lobby lizard? Remember lobby lizard? Just managing that process. If there's a problem, you go kind of like when you go to Wallbound or to a supermarket. There's one person for all those.
That's right. Just now that we have to do, and they're always up there saying.
You seem nervous, right?
Because they're always asking me for ID and stuff like that because I buy too much alcohol. And I always feel bad for them that they have to ask me because it's obvious I'm over 21.
Oh wow! I never bought alcohol.
And you always ask for an ID.
Yeah, I think we need.
No, but I would like to know in this whole venue. So what we're talking about is check-in kiosk terminals, right?
Yes. Okay. So it's check-in, check-out. Checkout is taken a little bit more frequent than check-in.
Do people
honestly
actually check out? I think I've checked out a hotel twice ever.
So the beauty is that because it's a screen and everyone loves to touch shiny things, more people use it to check out because they're standing there waiting for the Uber. Oh, I might as well click the button. So it helps you tremendously from an operational standpoint. And remember back in the day, there was, you put an iPad in a stand because people would just play around with it and it would drive up your take rate on checkouts. It helps you when you do, especially in high volume hotels, a lot of checkouts on a particular day. But the check-in works well, but it is really taking the transactional piece off the check-in, not the interaction. So this brand, as many lifestyle brands, live solely on the interaction, really. So we're taking the transaction away. It shortens the period of time our team needs to train, and we can really focus on them interacting with the guests and creating that experience that we're looking for them to create.
So you can, right now, if you took everybody out of the lobby, could most people check into the hotel?
So right now, 90% of the guests would be eligible to check in on that terminal.
Right.
Who's
Right.
not eligible?
So there's a lot of third party guests that wouldn't be able to check in.
Right.
Anyone that has this particular code that needs to show maybe a AAA membership card, maybe a friends and family
Or
form.
if I book
someone
on
that is
hotels,
comped, right?
If I booked on hotels and Expedia, can I book through the?
Yes.
I can
Yes,
book
you
through-
can.
Okay.
I don't want to call it a kiosk because kiosks to me are those old robot-looking things.
I also expect some lady to be trying to sell you earrings. And
It's like an iPad,
Yeah.
right? It's like a big iPad. It looked, you know, it's so funny because it said to start, press here. Check in or check out. Check in. What's your name? Or put in your whatever card or whatever code. And it looked like it was just so easy to deal with.
So it's 3 clicks. The idea is to get it done within 3 steps. So what we're doing now, when you make a reservation at the hotel, you get emailed a QR code on the day of arrival or the day prior to arrival, and you just hold the QR code there, and it finds your reservation, finds your form of payment, and you can literally confirm it there. And obviously, you've been pre-verified, right? And then you can make your.
It sounds like
right
it's
there.
as easy as a check-in kiosk terminal at an airport.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? In 10 years, that's all you're going to see at hotels. And whereas before it was like, well, you're taking a job away from people. Now it's no. There's nobody looking for jobs. So we don't want to talk about labor, but we talk about it every day. But there's nobody looking for jobs. So we'll deploy those employees in this kind of environment to really interact with the guests, not just doing something that a computer can do.
Christian, I want to ask you on that very specific topic, because the issue that I think we've both been afraid of is that you remove that humanity from it and it creates a plain vanilla experience. You're saying quite the opposite. It's the first time I've heard someone say we now have extra time to pay attention to the guests.
So. I think it also allows you to hire a different type of individual, because you don't need someone that is focused solely on the process and solely on the transaction, making sure you don't swipe over a credit card, making sure you charge for taxes, all the little stuff at front desk that gets people into trouble. But I can hire individuals that have a great personality, can connect with guests, and can create the experience. So now that broadens actually the pool that I can hire from, and I can hire individuals that actually do what they really want to do, which is interact with people, make a connection, and create an experience for the guests coming into the hotels.
You said that because a lot of people who are really, really social don't really like that keyboard and because like you said, mess it up. Like when he said mess it up, you have to really understand that when you're trying to be social, you're trying to interact, and you're trying to get all those codes and all those new policies and stuff. A person that's not really an accountant or a person that's really comfortable on a computer and really thinking on their feet and talking to somebody, it gets most people screwed up.
Right.
So it really becomes where you're more comfortable and you're really kind of inviting someone into your home, as opposed to you're inviting them into a bank.
So that's where the phenomenon comes from when you go to check in a hotel and they're like, "Hello," and they just type for a half an hour.
Dude,
That's it, and you wonder what they're doing. Right?
Like, why is my room so complicated?
Yes.
So you're really able to translate this into personal experiences, but only 20%, or is it? Wow, 20%. Where do you judge on whether that's good or bad at this point?
So for one, it's not common in our industry, right? So you would need to look at what the adoption rate was at airlines when they first started out. So we're right on track with that when airlines first started with terminals. So and they've been doing that for a lot more years than we have, right? Exactly. You also can't forget that we're a branded hotel within Marriott, and we have a huge take rate on the mobile key. So the other option is in a branded hotel to check in via the phone. Your phone becomes the key. And
so
you have another
theoretically, 20% isn't representing 100% of those guests.
So another 20% to 25% use the mobile app for check-in, and then use that as their key. So now you're talking around 40 to 45%. And you need to look at the individual that has traveled over the last, call it 8 months this year, because that's what the statistic is, who has traveled, which is more leisure driven. It's not a lot of road warriors, so to speak, that have been traveling yet.
Right.
And people are starting to come back. So I think the adoption rate automatically will go up as we see people returning over and over and over again and traveling more.
It's interesting. If I walk into a hotel, if I'm given the option for a hotel I know to use my phone, I'm doing it, because then I know kind of what I expect and what kind of room. If I'm coming to a new city and I know you have a phone option, you have a computer option, you have the front desk, I'm going to say, okay, maybe I'll check in on the computer when I get there. I'm not checking on the phone because I don't know what to expect. But if I see somebody at the desk, I'm going directly to the person at the desk because there's no line. I'm going right there.
Totally.
So I much prefer always getting checked in by someone, but I would take the phone option if I'm familiar with that brand. But let me ask you a question. Is that Marriott proprietary or is that off the shelf technology?
So that is Marriott proprietary.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Because it sits on
I don't
their
think anybody
PMS.
else is close to that yet, are they?
There's a lot of individual. If you look at the Wynn Las Vegas, for example, that comes to mind. Caesars in Las Vegas, the large large hotels have been doing it.
Well, they have been doing it,
But I
but
don't
they
see them
haven't been
using
doing it. I used it at one of the major resorts, and I'm not going to mention which one because it was not a positive experience for me. I know, don't worry, they haven't been on
I know
the show.
exactly what you're talking about.
They haven't been. We haven't had them on the show before. But it's frustrating because you go in and it's like 50 different steps to do it, and it became like, why can't a person just do it? It would take less time for an individual to do it. But you turned me on when you said 3 clicks and I'm done.
I looked at it this morning, even though I have a room, like I wasn't checking in. I saw it and I was like, that's clean. Like I'm that's inviting me. It's like boom, boom. And I was like, oh my God, I'm almost checked in. I don't have a room.
Yeah.
It was like it got
right.
me over so many steps so quickly.
And that was the major learning when we looked at, or when Marriott looked at what airlines were doing. That was the major learning. Make it very user friendly and very quick. So quick buttons. It's very inviting as a terminal. There's some video playing. There's something there that you gravitate towards when you walk into the lobby.
Yeah, and you said something. You both said something I agree with, but also it's like 2022 is that people are missing that person connection.
Right.
People want to book their Uber, book their restaurant, book their tickets, all automated. They want to sit with their friends and talk over dinner. They want to sit in the Uber and talk to their friends. They want to go into their hotel room and maybe say hello to the housekeeper or maybe say hello to the concierge. But so these things are not taking away from people. They're putting you there quicker, easier, and more comfortably so you can engage with the people you want to be with, not having to spend 20 minutes with somebody that just got trained at the front desk going like this.
Right. Yeah. Well, I spend a lot of time talking to the Uber driver because I want to protect my rating. I'm afraid that if I don't have enough good jokes, they'll drop me down to
I don't talk to any Uber drivers unless they're like, you can tell they want to talk.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I love that. So
I don't know what my rating is. Wow.
So this is just one, change that you're bringing in here. But as a property that's testing things for Marriott, what are some of the other things that you're thinking about to kind of change the dynamic about how you run the property?
One thing we noticed is that obviously the whole work environment changed drastically. You're on Zoom a lot more. You're not wearing suits as often anymore, right? You're a lot more casual.
How often do you come into the building? Like, how often do you work from home a week? 5 days.
So I'm here 5 days a week.
You are.
Yeah. And then he works from home 2 days a week.
And then I work from home 2 days a week.
But is it required?
And Anthony calls at like 7 a.m.
Yeah,
I do, right?
Yeah, he does.
I never know. 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll text you. But are you required to be here 5 days a week? Or if you wanted to work from home 1 day a week, would you get slack? Or
I require myself to be here 5 days a week.
But would your boss look at you crooked?
Yeah, I really do.
That's
I really don't want to.
I don't want to answer that
yes.
question.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
So the work environment's different.
So the work environment's different, but it also is different. The requirement from guests. So one thing we rolled out, going back to the conversations around innovation, was the Zoom room. So what we've done, we have very cozy rooms, which makes sense in New York City. But we've also seen that guests would like some privacy at times to work and not just work in public spaces, to do exactly this, right? Maybe report a podcast, maybe do an interview, maybe have a Zoom call. So we've taken some rooms and converted them to Zoom rooms, which now you can rent with a 2-hour minimum, and you can rent them through an app. You can rent them at the front desk, and when we also give them to some of our corporate accounts as a complimentary amenity, and then guests can use this to do what they need to do in privacy.
Okay, now you told me that. Okay, first I want to say this. If you're a general manager, if you own a hotel, if you work in a hotel, listen to this, because this is the moment where you're hearing this for the first time, a Zoom room, but you're going to hear about it more and more. But a brand like Moxy working with Marriott can do this. They're smart. They're innovative. It makes perfect sense. This is an incredible, incredible idea. With that said, it's not overly expensive. Like if I need to, I'm in the city a lot, and we're always looking, where can we do a Zoom real quick? We're in the city. If I know I can call you and for $50 for 2 hours, $50 for 2 hours, you come and run over and you do a Zoom. For those people that are working and they're like, you know what, I really want to go and I want to do more social media, and I really want to kind of, I want to kind of leave my job eventually, and I want to become a TikTok star. You can rent this room 2-3 days a week and start doing all your content. Matter of fact, I'm always looking to do content, and I can never find a place. So I'm probably going to use it. I'm probably going to come here, and I'm probably going to use it myself. I think it's a brilliant idea. And it's such a Moxy idea.
It works very well with the brand, very well with the brand. And if we look at who we target, which are those individuals that work for startup companies, individuals that are influencers, that are more on the creative side, right? It's a great amenity to have in the hotel, and to have that available. While we also have the public space where we're going back to sitting together at communal tables, working together, and sharing those experiences. We've learned that you need to offer something in privacy.
I'm meeting some people for a drink or some food or something like that, but I got to do this thing real quick. Let me get the room for 2 hours.
We're always
and
in
come
the
down
middle
and
of
be
that.
social. Yeah,
there's not a week that comes by where I'm not like I need a place. That's brilliant, by the way. You have a green screen in the room?
We don't have a green screen.
Get a green screen.
That would be a good idea.
Because I like there's certain we'll do some things for our podcast, and sometimes it's an advertisement, and I would like to use a picture from that company. So and the green screen I bought, the one I use is zip in, zip out. Like literally takes me 4 seconds to set up.
Perfect.
I think it was maybe $175.
I painted my wall chroma key green.
Oh yeah.
Well, you both get 2 hours for free in the Zoom.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Or you have a wall that you can paint green?
That's an option too. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. So
I like it. No, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So how else are people trying to figure out the way to work and live right now when they're coming to New York City?
So we're seeing guests go back to the public spaces, which is exciting. So we're seeing more guests again in the bar area. The bar is doing very well. We're able to open the restaurant Legacy on the second floor again, which is doing really well. I think what we see more and more of is what we in the industry now refer to as the bleisure crowd, right? So guests coming for their business trip, but also extending it either on the front or the back and spending a few days in the hotel on their own, working from here. Maybe you have a meeting at Tuesday morning, but you come in the weekend before, work here on Monday, use the Zoom room if you can, and then do your meeting on Tuesday, Wednesday, and fly back out. But you get that weekend before, which is really great. We're seeing a lot of group business where group attendees come the day or two before or stay after as well, which is incredible if you look at it from a revenue perspective, right? Because you can suddenly those shoulder days you were always struggling with, you can suddenly book into those a lot easier.
But you just said, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, is this a real shift that you're seeing that's got legs to it? Because one of the reason why I asked this is I just see all of the business travelers, they fly in, they fly out, they're constantly on airplanes. Are they really desiring to do this as a bleisure thing, or are they just going to do, this one time in New York City, I'll do it? Or is it going to be every time?
I think it depends on the business traveler for sure. So again, it's a slightly different demographic for us than maybe a traditional hotel, right? That's one. For two, I think the issues we have, not to go into too much with flight delays and flight issues, people are going to be less likely to make these tight turnarounds because it's more of a concern that you're not going to make the meeting, right?
Absolutely.
So that works in our favor. But I think for the clientele and demographic we have, this definitely has legs.
Yeah, that just happened to me, where I literally missed a meeting because of and I gave myself a day, and it still didn't work out. But one of the things that I love is you were using the word revenue before, food and beverage revenue and the bar revenue. But you have to understand from a hotel, and the reason I'm talking to Glenn specifically, because from a hotel perspective, taking a room out of service for a Zoom room is malpractice. If you are a 55-year-old guy that's been in this hotel business for a long time, malpractice. If you understand your client, if you understand some people work, say, listen, this is not a moneymaker for us, but this helps our clients. This is kind of a good PR thing, it's marketing, and people use it. It's not like a marketing thing where people don't use it. We have it, but nobody, like the fishbowl at the front desk, right? That was a thing that everybody was doing, and nobody used it. So this is like people are going to use it, and it's media friendly, PR friendly, but it's not a big money generator.
It is. I would say you can create a revenue with it.
You could.
And you can create enough revenue to match your ADRs for sure.
Really?
For sure. And you can yield it, right? So if you see demand, you can still yield it up if you use the right apps to
So you're not going to lose. So if you make, say, $3 a year on a room, you can make $3 a year on that room or more.
You could. You also have to look at, this is for one, a large hotel, right? And we're also in Midtown. Manhattan, right? So there's a lot of traffic around, a lot of creative agencies in the neighborhood, which all have adopted the open floor, office floor plan, right? Which makes it very hard if you need to interview for a job at a different company, you need a place to go, or if you need to, or if you need to take a exactly, or if you need to take a meeting in private, right? So we're catering to even everyone just in this neighborhood. So for us,
right
this
now,
works
is
very
it a pretty
well.
busy room?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Are
is.
you
For us, it
thinking
works
about,
well.
taking another room?
So we can obviously expand it, right? And that's when it gets tricky, right? Where you got to see, do I make more money selling it as the sleeping room, traditional sleeping room? Do I make it a Zoom? Do I find a solution where I can flip flop between the two, right? And what else can I do with that room while it's a Zoom room and doesn't have a bed, right? So one thing that we're thinking about and we just rolled out is making that also a power shower room. So that's a room where you can come in the evening. Let's say you're in the city. You want to go out in the evening, but you just need to
hear a lot.
but you just need to go drape. There you go. But you also need to take a quick shower, right? So you're welcome. Come to the gym, work out real quick, hit the shower, and go out for the evening, right? So there's a lot of opportunities to look at the business slightly different versus just traditional sleeping rooms.
This works right into my life. I'm never going to leave this place.
So we've been talking a lot about innovation, and you have a lot of great ideas, but how do you work on generating these ideas? Where do they come from? How do you get yourself set in order to be creative in this sort of way?
So the first thing is that we're in an environment where we have an ownership group, we have a management group that is very open to new ideas. So that's first and foremost has to be said, right? Number two is that these are not my ideas, right? So it's really a lot of these ideas come from individuals that are living it every day. It could be a front desk agent, it could be your housekeepers, right? That say, listen, I noticed there's a lot of guests coming in the summer that are using a room, but they never use the bed. Oh, maybe they're showering, right? So the housekeeper would know. I wouldn't know why someone booked a room that actually goes on there, right? So really having a lot of venues for employees and for partners to voice ideas and then be willing to try it out. Right? Because the reality is, out of those two that we just talked about, the power shower and the Zoom room, there were probably 8 others, 80% that weren't great. Right. That we tried and we said this was not a good idea. But being in this environment where we can do that is very, very helpful.
How many times have you checked out of a room, you ask for a late checkout, and it's not available, and you have to do your conference call in the lobby?
Oh yeah, it's
this is like, listen, I can't. I need the room back. That's fine. Can I take your Zoom room for an hour? And you charge me for that. Can you get it for an hour? Or it's a 2-hour minimum.
It's a 2-hour minimum, but you can get it for an hour.
I don't mean me, but I mean, I know people. But it's just fascinating. And, there's something to be said about all these brands, right? There's like how many brands? 627 billion?
Something like that.
Is that an exaggeration?
No, it might be 628 billion.
But there's so many brands. But the good news about the brands is that think about, well, you're a lot younger than me, but think about hotels 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
90% of them were bad. Now 99% of hotels are great, even if the lower ended hotel, because of the brand and the standards. And sometimes that's very frustrating for us who run hotels, but it really gives the traveling public so many opportunities because, there's so many people looking at one problem and then solve it. And then once it's solved across Marriott. If not only Moxy, but I'm sure that the Zoom room is going to go to other brands.
It could, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I think there's also a lot more venues or avenues for guests to compare products. Right. So that doesn't make it easier for hoteliers for maybe 20 years.
And to me, the Zoom room, and if this key thing really, the check-in really takes off, all the other brands, even the higher level brands, the 4-star, 5, they're going to be demanding it because it works really for any client.
And that goes back to that the way we travel has changed. Pandemic aside, right? The way people travel, the way we work, due to technology has changed so much that even on the higher end, there might be a time where you are on a conference call, getting out of the Uber, and you want to check in, but you just can't deal with anyone right now. You just want to push some buttons, get your key, and go to your room. And later on, you might go to the concierge and talk to them about your dinner, show reservations, whatever it might be. But giving someone the option is incredible.
How about, like, say you don't have a Zoom room, but you have a green screen, a ring light, a microphone to set up your room for a Zoom? Because I was like back in the day, ironing boards were at the front desk. You have to rent them, believe it or not.
I know.
Maybe eventually we'll have that at the front desk, but eventually we'll actually have a stand for a Zoom light, for a microphone, right? Yeah. It seems very realistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So how are you thinking people are going to be behaving when it comes to this fall. Do you think that business traveler is going to be coming back? Do you think they might still be staying a little bit longer, or do you think you're still going to be depending on that leisure business, which in my opinion is probably going to evaporate because everyone's back to school now and I'm getting back to routine?
So we're seeing it pick up more midweek, which is a great indicator. We're seeing corporate accounts pick up more. I think what's going to happen is as we get into the colder months, there's going to be some hesitation, but it's going to be more short-term booking, right? So we're seeing group business being a lot more short-term than it used to be because no one really wants to commit yet to bringing hundreds of people to a certain market from all over the world potentially,
right?
Until a few months out only.
That's
right.
right.
So we're seeing that change, but I think business travelers are going to be back, and I think because they haven't traveled for so long, that leisure trend will hold on at least for the short term.
I think leisure travel's here for forever.
Right.
I think
I don't disagree.
everything's changed. I mean, we're seeing it. We're seeing how people work. We're seeing what people want a side hustle, right? So it gives them if you are traveling for work and you're in New York, it gives you an opportunity to meet with people that help you with your side hustle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It just seems to me that's never going to change. What's happening in the food and beverage environment in hotels have been all over the board in the last 10 years. Where's Moxy falling with food and beverage?
So we're very heavily food and beverage driven. So all of our hotels have some sort of lobby bar, right? Which is really the life of the hotel, and that's where we encourage the guests to go, right? Work from, that's where the life happens. We have a full service restaurant. In some locations, we're doing lunch and dinner, depending on the neighborhood. It might be dinner only.
Yeah.
And then we have some sort of nightlife function, which is a lounge, a nightclub that is open maybe 5, maybe 7 days a week, depending on the location as well. Guests are flocking to it. I think the outlets are doing very well. Also, again, lots of leisure travel, so that helps it. But also because businesses in the neighborhood, in the New York market, businesses are back, right? So there's a lot of that happy hour business that you just didn't have for 2 years. So that's also coming back.
That's wonderful to see the happy hour business coming back, and that's a direct connection to people going back to the office.
Exactly. So you see it, and it's interesting in New York. And if you drive, right, you drive on a Monday and Friday, there's barely any traffic compared to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when those are a lot of companies adopted the 3 and 2 model, right? And then everyone picks Mondays and Fridays to stay home. So Tuesdays through Thursday, we're doing tremendously better than on a Monday, on a Monday and Friday. But then on Mondays and Fridays, you take the leisure business, right? Where guests are saying, okay, I'm done working at 4, and now I'm going to hit the bar. And now it's not really the after work crowd, right? But it's that out of towner that has been here, and then goes out and might go out longer than the person that has to go home and put their children to bed, right?
My daughter was in the hotel business for a year, and now she's working as a meeting planner in the cosmetic field. And she had summer Fridays, so the whole summer she was off on Fridays, working at all, off. She worked 4 days a week during the week, and so this week she's got to go to work, and she's like, I got to go to work, and from home, by the way. Friday half day from home is a regular Friday during the year is a half a day from home on Friday. So I gotta go work on Friday. I go, you mean from your bedroom at home half a day? How do you deal with this?
How do you cope?
Poor problems. It's poor problems.
That's right.
No, but it's actually wonderful to see that my children won't have to. Hope 2 of them look like they're going to be teachers. One's going to be in the meeting planning, and she loves where she works. So hopefully she'll be there. But it's like that they don't have to. It's a grind. It's a grind. I love the industry, the hotel business, hospitality business, but it's a grind. If you're not meant for it, it'll blow you out.
And that's really, if you look at what we do for our employees, going back to how we started this conversation, right? That's really finding individuals that want to be here and can do what they really want to do versus hiring individuals that just have to sit there and type on a computer all day and check in.
I want to get back to food and beverage, but how's flex scheduling working? Like, are you giving people options for their schedule?
This does not count as a conversation about labor, by the way.
That's right. No, I think you need to give individuals options. I think that's becoming more and more a thing, so to speak. But obviously it is
flex time.
But it's a lot harder, right?
I mean, no, it gives people time to go in the back room and go like this.
That's right. So, but you have to. I mean, again, I think within a team, and if you find the right individuals that do, for one, have the ambition to be here and are passionate about the industry, want to grow in the industry. For one, it's a lot easier to bring them to work, right? Than people that you have to convince to come to work every single day. But also, if you have a team that helps each other out and you build that culture where everyone works together, that makes it a lot easier as well. Where you encourage, hey, if you can't make it, let's switch your shift instead of you calling out, whatever it might be. I think if you can figure that out culturally, I think you're winning.
So where's room service going on today? Because right now we're giving most of our business to Uber Eats and all that kind of stuff. So where's Moxy in that world? Are you doing the ghost kitchens? What's going on with that?
So holistically, I think it depends on the market, right? I think in New York, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless is there to stay in some way, shape, or form, because you're coming from somewhere else. There's so many great options that I could not compete with. There's no way I can make a better burger than the best burger spot in New York, or the best sushi spot in New York can make sushi, and so on and so forth. So I think in this market, it's going to be really difficult to start your own room service.
And do you see a lot of Uber Eats?
We see that a lot. We see that a lot, but it's also it's really iconic restaurants that that guests order from and say, I'm in New York, I can't make it there for whatever reason.
I gotta have Katz's
but I gotta have Katz's Deli, and I'm gonna have it delivered to my hotel. Right. I think if you're in a tertiary market, it might be different, right? If you don't have those options and your options are between chain restaurants only, you might have an opportunity to start your room service operation.
Yeah, there's no way that I'm gonna be headed out to go to a traditional chain restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. So in those markets, you could probably run room service fairly profitable if you use technology the right way.
Beverage service back when I started was, a Manhattan, a martini, a margarita, whatever, a pina colada. Now the beverage service is a whole different level. How are you guys
in regards to, sorry,
like just alcohol? Like how's the bar service? The bar,
it's incredible. I mean, even looking at how cocktails have come back,
that's
right? And we're really working. I mean, the espresso martini had a comeback of the year, right? So
my wife had one for the first time at lunch yesterday, simply because they were pushing it, and she looked at me. We were in Boston, and she looked at me. She goes, I can live without this.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It wasn't for her.
A few of those.
It's a great drink in Vegas to get the night started.
Is it a bad drink in Vegas?
I was going to ask.
That's a very good point. But I meant
the last one usually.
Wow, he's quick.
Yeah, but what I meant was, you want something with a little pep to keep it going.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
But the cocktail menu is just off the charts too.
Off the charts. I think what we also do very well at the hotel here, we partnered with the Tao Group to run all the food and beverage. What they do really well is come up with drinks that are somewhat Instagrammable. So if it is in the summer, a popsicle that is in your Prosecco, in your martini, if it is something that is served in a disco ball, and it's a punch bowl that you get for your friends and yourself at the table. Those are things that show very well on social media, which is important, right? But it's also something that is communal, which can be shared. So we have a lot of those drinks on the menu as well.
Listen, my friend Joe Isidori was a co-founder of Black Tap. And Black Tap. Black Tap made their whole career on Instagram. Now he has a restaurant called Authors and Sons downtown, which is getting all social media, all TikTok. Oh my God, it's blowing up.
I had no idea he did that. That's cool.
Yeah, Authors and Sons. It's blowing up. It's blowing up. It's crazy. Matter of fact, I'm sitting online. I called him and say, hey, I'm 2 minutes away. I'm coming to see you. He goes, I'm on the line. I said, I'm coming to see you. Go on. He's on the line. So we go outside for a second, and I go, where are you getting all this business? And he goes, TikTok. I go, TikTok, and literally like 4 people in line go, yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah, oh, that's the chef. Like I was like, oh my God. It's exploding. And you just said, we're partnering with Tao Group, kind of like nothing. Like talk about Tao Group and what that institution and what they mean to New York specifically.
I mean, they're just a major player in the food and beverage world here. If you look at nightclubs, if you look at restaurants, what they do, and being able to have them in the restaurants and drive the business here.
I didn't know that.
It's and they're in 4 of our locations in New York, which is incredible.
Talk about the other locations in New York.
So we have Moxy Times Square, right, 36th and 7th. We have Moxy Chelsea, 350 rooms on 28th Street, which is an incredible hotel. We have Moxy East Village, which is on 11th Street, also open. Right. We're opening on the Lower East Side location, which is on Bowery and Broome, right on the corner.
That's cool.
And that's opening, say, in the fall this year. And then we're opening Williamsburg. We're opening Williamsburg with 200 rooms, right by the bridge. So that's going to open in the winter of this year or early next year, and we're going to open that up. And we're going to we're right across so we're right at the bridge. On the other side of the bridge is Peter Luger's. So just geographically, that's where we're located, and that's going to be having a restaurant roof. It's just going to be insane as well, that hotel.
So if you're a young manager and you want to get in the hotel industry, you're in school for hospitality, check out this podcast, find him, and he will give you a job. I guarantee you.
Please call me up.
But right now, it is so, like, you're opening 4 or 5 hotels. A lot of people don't understand how wonderful the service industry is. We're hopefully changing that this year. I'll let you know when that happens.
Are you going to let people know it's a terrible industry or something?
No, we're working on a program. I don't want to say that. If it comes to fruition, where we've got to change the mindset of what this industry is.
We have to.
And especially if you have the technology where you're not behind the front desk. You know, my daughter worked at the Mark Hotel and she was more the VIP person because she worked and trained at the front desk for the first week. And she's like, and she doesn't have that kind of head for the front desk. But when it was a VIP paying X amount of dollars a night for a room, a princess or an A-list celebrity, my daughter got the most common cards because she's that person. She's not the person to sit behind the front desk and go like this.
Right.
I think that's what we need to get back to, because if you think about where hotels were really, really back in the day, that's what it was: being hospitable, making.
It was mom and pop.
That's what it was, right? And then we came with all these technologies, all these processes for good reason, right? Because we're starting to make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But it's gotten in the way a little bit. So if we can take some of this away and we can really go back to creating that experience, I think we're going to find the right people. And it is a great industry. It is a great industry where you can also grow and have an incredible career.
Well, you're in the middle of growing and having an incredible career. What's it like overseeing all these properties in different phases of existence?
She's mediocre.
Yeah,
Mediocre.
From this one in particular that's been established for a while, going through the ones that haven't even opened yet.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing is, for one, I put a lot of miles in, which is incredible. So running through town. But all jokes aside, it's really incredible to say, okay, we've opened this. We've had so many learnings over 5 years. This was the 3rd Moxy that opened in the United States.
Right.
To now the brand has exploded, right? And don't quote me on how many there are now. But opening up something in Williamsburg now with all the learnings we have, not only from our hotel, but from everyone else that has done this before, plus what we've gone through in the last 2 years, I think we're creating something new again, and we can start over and really, really create something that's very unique, and we'll set the tone moving forward as well.
It's really important that you have, when you do a product like this, because you guys kind of help create this product, right? Your ownership group helped create Moxy, that you have good owners. Like,
incredibly important.
Why is it incredibly important?
Going back to the innovation, you have to try new things, and we say it. Oh yeah, we fail 80% of the time.
Yeah,
that is usually associated with you losing some sort of money.
Right,
be big dollars, small dollars, whatever it might be. So you need people in your corner that are willing to do this and are helping you push this forward. That see the long-term vision of what this can be from a brand perspective within the Marriott world, right? But also within the hospitality world. So,
because there's not a lot of risk taking in the hospitality industry. There's just isn't. And you need owners to help brands like Marriott make those decisions and push. Yes. Could you imagine if Marriott didn't go out and find the people behind the Moxy and behind even the first autograph, or the Ian Schrager's? Could you imagine if they just stayed within their zone? Because Marriott's a great brand, but Moxy's known as, this is the way we do things. And they've been pushed. And even though they're being pushed, they move slower, because they have such a legacy brand. But now look what it's become. Like, you can stay at the coolest hotels in the world, or if you want to stay at that normal Marriott kind of cookie cutter hotel, they have that too for you.
Just a few weeks ago, I stayed at the 9th ever Marriott full service hotel. How cool is that?
And did they renovate it more than once?
Many times, but you can't,
Which one was it?
It is the one by Brandeis in Waltham, Massachusetts.
Oh, really? The 9th one?
Yeah, it was built in like 1967.
Was it really cool?
It was really cool to take a step back in history. And I don't want people to think it was old, because the rooms were terrific and all that, but it's this older piece of infrastructure, and it really feels like you're looking back in time in a sort of way to how things used to be.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it was really well done. Thank you, Chris, the GM over there, for being
but
so
even
awesome.
This room, right? This room's very comfortable. It's very nice. But this room feels like a throwback to the older apartments in New York City. Mm-hmm. A lot of hooks. The colors are that kind of throwback into the 30s and 40s. It's like, obviously it's updated, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, but it feels like that old New York kind of style hotel room.
Yeah, and so going on the hooks, that's something that we started with, and you see it in a lot of places now. Is really, really, the traditional closet. It's questionable if you need it in a hotel like this, right? Like, do you just, if you have your average stay is 2 to 3 nights, right? Who's still irons their shirt, going back to what people really wear,
Yeah.
right? You do, but most people wear a t-shirt, a polo shirt, whatever it might be. You might just leave it in your suitcase. You might just be able to just hang it on a hook, right? Just hang it up. So how can we use that space differently, and how can we create more value for the guest?
I'm a hooker. I am a hook guy. I'm looking for hooks everywhere I go. And but I'm still the guy. Like I went to Boston, right, with my wife for one night to see my daughter play volleyball for her school. And my wife brings a duffel bag, takes nothing out of the duffel bag when we land. We get in. She goes, "Let's go." I go, "Whoa, we got to unpack." She picks up my bag. She goes, "We're staying one night." I had 3 extra shirts. I take everything out. I hang everything up. I ironed my shirt. And she's like, "Are you kidding me?" She goes, "We're just going for a walk."
Yeah, too bad you missed the game.
I didn't know people still iron clothes.
No steam. I don't iron.
I was about to say,
I'm
steam.
I do a lot of ironing because I'm at these conferences. So as soon as I get there, I do all my ironing. So
Get it out of the
I
way.
have to do it for the
What's
rest of the trip.
steam? I don't understand. Steaming so.
Steamer is the way to go.
Because I don't have the pocket steamer yet, and I know I'm letting you down.
You are.
I know.
You are, and you still don't use college stage, but we don't talk about that anymore.
Oh,
I gave up.
We moved past it. I did use them for a while.
I gave up.
And then COVID
I even
happened,
showed you
and-
the tape. Like right now, I'm using tape.
Yeah,
to
he's
keep
got
these
double-sided
down,
tape. It's
to
really,
keep these
Oh, really?
down. Yeah. You know,
it's pretty clever.
If not, it would have been in my face. It would look weird.
So, last
fancy.
week, Anthony and I were doing a show. We were talking about the steps you need to take to become a general manager. What are some of the ways that you found your way up the ladder to get to this position now?
You need to get started.
Yeah.
Number one.
Put your pants out.
You got to get going.
And walk out the
You got
door.
to get going. I think
Right.
that's really important. You got to find a place where you're comfortable, and you find a mentor. You find people that look after you and that see
I'm
what
going to
you can
back
do.
up. I'm going to back you up because I know you how many years now?
Yeah, it's been 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Okay, I think more than that, but
Yeah.
we know each other a while. And you're a young, hard charger, but you're very easy to talk with, and you have a very positive way of thinking. As a matter of fact, we were dealing with something, you and I, and I said something off the cuff, and you put such a positive spin on it. And I was like, "Oh, I was being negative," and like he literally made me better.
Oh,
And I'm like, "Oh, when I talk to him, don't like being a negative because he only talks in the positive." And you literally, I don't know if you remember that moment, but you taught me something there. I was like, "Wow, you can learn from everybody." So I don't want to find a mentor, find a good. I don't want to know about that. I want to know when you first started, you got your ass kicked, and you just had to endure it until you got that mentor, until you found a place to land. That's where people fail. And why were you able to endure until you found the right place? Or maybe you found it right out of school. I don't know.
No, I think for one, I was in a position where I always had to work, right? Where, like many of us, you had to have a job. And I was fortunate enough that I started in the hospitality industry at McDonald's, matter of fact. And you just had to get going, right? Because you had to earn the paycheck and you had to get moving. But you created a passion, and you find something that you're really passionate about that brings you back day in.
What
and
did
day
you
out.
learn from McDonald's that you learned something today? Like, what was the foundation of McDonald's? What did it teach you?
Processes and procedures.
Interesting.
Processes and procedures. I mean, it's just, they built an incredible empire with that, right?
Yeah.
So, and so from there, finding something, and what I liked there was being able to connect with people. That was the co-workers for one, right? Which was really incredible, but also the guests, right? So, and then saying from there, okay, this is clearly, I don't want to be behind this counter.
Right.
I want to be dealing with guests, getting in the restaurant industry and starting out there, putting in a lot of hours. But I was always surrounded by a lot of people that were like-minded and had a really good time doing whatever we did, even if it was hard. And I think that's important too. If you come into a job, even if you don't find the mentor, but you have a team around you that is there for you, that works equally hard, that has the same goal in mind. You might not work your way up to general manager all at the same time, but you all work together on becoming better as a team. That goes a very long way. And I think that's what we're trying to recreate.
The greatest gift you can give anyone, you can give a child, is work.
Yeah.
It's the greatest gift you can give.
Very important.
Because could you imagine if you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth and you didn't have to work? Would you be the same person you are today?
I'm of the opinion everyone should at least work one summer in a restaurant.
I'm of the opinion
Right.
I should go to the military, but you really understand. But my point being is, like, if you didn't work like that hard to really, you had to work, you may not be, because you like a lot of people like, I don't want to have my family kind of money, or I want to do my own. But they always know they have backup plan. You didn't have backup plan. And the backup plan is highly motivating.
Yeah.
Not having a backup plan is highly motivating, right?
Yeah.
Because you have no choice.
You have to get going. You have to get going.
And when was the first time where you were like the mentor, when you really had a mentor that really started to put you on the right path?
So that was still back when it was a side job that was in a restaurant back in Germany where I grew up, and someone that was running a business, and it was obvious at one point, you do a job and it's a job, and okay, this is a good way to make money. But when someone shows you that this is a good way to support your family, really, work on your dreams and like become a better person and grow within this industry, it's very, very inspiring. So then there was someone there that said, listen, if you do this, if you take these steps from education standpoint, learn XYZ, that's how you could grow. And that was in the restaurant industry. And after a while, I realized the restaurant industry is not the way to go.
Yeah.
And there's even a better way. And I found someone else that said, you shouldn't do restaurants. You should do the hotel side. That's even more lucrative from that perspective when it comes to,
and not only lucrative, it's more fun, I think. And
that's what I meant exactly from all perspectives, right?
And so, could you imagine? I don't want to answer your age. Yes, I do. How old are you?
39.
Okay, so you're a young man. You're 39 years old. Could you imagine talking to someone from what town are you from in Germany?
It's close to Koblenz in Germany.
Small town.
The town I'm from has 2,700 people living there.
Okay.
Yes,
That would be a
very
small
small.
town.
That's very small.
So imagine a 17-year-old kid with dreams, knowing that this guy from his town is running how many hotels now?
3
hotels in New York City at a high level, making good money, supporting his family. And that you're 39. The time you're my age, you may be running the biggest hospitality company in the world. You may be the guy.
Yeah. Or just renting out Zoom rooms.
Right.
Or whatever it is, you've put yourself in a position to be looked at a much higher, position with even more money. And that 17-year-old kid looks up to you. Do you feel responsibility to go back and help people not only from your area, but just in general, like even here in New York?
Absolutely. I think what we can do here is we can hire individuals that you don't need a formal education to start at the front desk, to start in housekeeping. There's a low level of entry, right? Where you can come in, but we're looking for individuals that really want to grow. So that's what we're doing, and we're helping them. Our management company has an MDP program where we really a management development program. We identify key individuals in the hotel, in the operations, in all departments, help them grow. And I think that's so important. If we can show people, yes, take a job here. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, you're going to get shouted at the front desk every now and then. But if you stick it out and if you work with us and follow these steps, right, might be different for each individual. Yeah. If you follow these steps, we can get you to where you might want to go. It might not be general manager. Maybe you want to be the best director of finance there is, or the best regional revenue person, or the best director of HR. And there are so many avenues in our industry where you can find your passion. Maybe you want to be the digital marketing manager for a hotel company. Once you get started there,
where did you learn, not to interrupt, where did you learn not to take it personally? Because in this industry, everybody takes it personally. And I can tell, knowing you, you don't take things very personally. Like, you let it roll off your back pretty quick. You may go home and kick the wall, but you let it roll out pretty quick.
I wonder how much some of that's the German in him. Is
So when you have to compartmentalize for sure. Yeah. But you do go home sometimes and you just gotta ride that pellet on the bike a little harder the next morning just to get get rid of those frustrations. But I think that's a lot of times people take it too personal. And when we work in this industry, be it the front desk agents, it might not be their fault that the HVAC didn't work in the room, the elevator is not working, that something else happened, that it was noisy outside, right? And that's something we're trying to help everyone understand as well, that this is not an attack against you. It's not an attack against necessarily the hotel. It was a one-off situation, right? And we need to deal with it accordingly.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. When I was younger, I guess I take things personal, and I probably did, but to me, it's more about my team. Like, you can say whatever you want about me, but if you say, hey, my team's not this or whatever, that's when I use language maybe I shouldn't have used sometimes.
Yeah, that's when it gets a little dicey, right?
That's where I get myself in trouble.
That's it.
You can attack me, but my team.
Yeah, and that's very similar here. We can talk offline about some stories.
Yeah, it's like, you come after me all you want. I actually have a rule that I don't take a contract when I run a hotel. In 6 months, you either give me a lot more money or you fire me. And for that 6 months, you're not allowed to talk to anybody outside of, is Anthony coming in on time? Is Anthony embezzling? Is Anthony doing this? As long you can talk about me to my team, but you can't say, why aren't your shoes shined? Why is your that's my job. So if they're not on point, you yell at me. You don't yell at them. But you want to check me out. That's fine. And it's worked most of my career. But that's taking things personally in this industry, because most of the people that love this industry are emotional people. A lot of actors and people that really put themselves out there.
Absolutely. So I think that's where we spend a lot of time coaching the team.
Yeah.
Is really on that of not taking it personal, but then also again, how can we help you grow? Right. I think those are the 2 points.
I wonder how many people that work at Tower work in hotel businesses around here, what percentage are actors and actors? Probably 50%.
Has to be.
In LA, it's 99%. Right?
No, they're all in Austin now.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right, we need to start wrapping up over here. Christian, any final thoughts that you've got today? You're just dying,
No, that's it. Come back. Use the Zoom room.
Yeah.
How did you and I first meet? Do you remember? I don't remember.
Wasn't it here?
Was it through the podcast?
I think so.
It was a podcast you did here.
Back when we were doing audio only, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think you did one for the opening with our owner.
Yeah, we did.
Right?
I did one with
Hawkberg,
Mitch.
right?
I did one with Mitch alone back when I was just doing this
I remember
on my
that.
own. And then we came back when we were doing Checking In at Anthony and Glenn, and we spent a day here. We did one with you. We did a couple of others. We did one with Julian Buffum of Newcastle, the guy who went and did the Lions thing, and a couple of other.
And your studio was in the area, no? Wasn't it? Didn't you have a
No,
studio
we never
here?
had a studio. We worked out of Garden City.
Oh, so that.
We never had a studio here, but we've been around town and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've probably seen Anthony wander the streets
Yeah.
looking for shelter.
Listen, if you guys are looking for something, why not listen to the audio version of our podcast? Download on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, wherever you get your shows. That's where you can get it. And if you happen to be listening to us right now, why not watch us? Find us on all the social medias, LinkedIn, Facebook, NoVacancyNews.com, and of course, YouTube. Anything else that you want to get off your chest there before we wrap up?
Just a thought came to my mind that I'll keep to myself.
All right, everybody. You've got one life, so blaze on.
Be kind to yourself.
See y'all tomorrow.
And don't talk over the graphic.